welcome back to Hot Pursuit, a podcast about creating conversations where nothing is off limits.
This podcast is produced by Asian Boss Girl.
I'm Em, the older sister you've always wanted.
And I'm Jen, the cheese ball in your snack drawer.
And I'm Madeline, your girl who thinks everything really is that deep. So today, we're going to be talking about the hot topic of money, how we feel about money, how our relationships with money formed, how we view it, what it was like growing up with different amounts of money, and the realizations that we've made regarding money today. So, how do we feel about money right now?
I love money! I love spending money.
Oh, important distinction.
Yes. My sister loves money in the sense that like she likes to have it. For me, I'm like, I like to spend it. I like to give it away to businesses.
Yeah. To businesses.
To businesses, big and small.
Establishments.
And our friends. Your
And or friends, yes.
Wow. Generous, open-handed with your money.
How about y'all? How about you, Jay?
Well, one, I love that we're talking about money because I feel like it's such a sensitive topic. You know, it's one that everyone kind of strays away from, or you kind of start to talk about it, but then everyone's like, yeah, so what are you doing this weekend? You know, so it's really, like, I think valuable to even talk about money. I would say I spend my money on experiences and I have no assets. There's a financial literacy that I find is so important. And especially being an adult, I feel like there's expectations that you know, like what high yield savings accounts are better than the others. But that is really challenging because there's so much information out there and everyone has so much advice that they want to give you from your parents, from your friends. So that's always a lot to take in. And I never know what to do. But I think I really enjoy scraping and finding great deals and saving. Like I'm like your sister, I think. I enjoy saving money a lot. And it makes it hard sometimes to spend on things that are like little luxuries or comforts. It feels morally wrong in my being when I'm like, oh, should I get that like latte with the extra syrup today? I don't know. Maybe I don't need the syrup. You know, I think those are
You
really
did
hard.
get a latte with syrup today because it was free.
I did.
You can take the girl out of China, but you can't take China out of the girl.
You get a dopamine hit from saving, from seeing the
Yeah,
scrap.
I think it's so interesting how you say you enjoy scraping.
Yeah. It feels satisfying.
Like you
I
cheated the
think.
system a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and then also it's like the way that I think about it, which is maybe sometimes too much, is that every little bit that I can save feels like it's building towards something bigger that you can either give or for the future. Delayed gratification.
wow.
Yeah. What about you, Mads?
Well, I would say that my relationship with money is a little complicated, just like most of my past relationships. I think my relationship with money is currently in the process of change.
I can attest.
Yes.
Yes, you're doing so good.
Thank you. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I think I started from a place of also scraping, but then scraping to the point that the limit does not exist. And then I realized it was negatively affecting people and relationships. And that's when I felt like maybe we should rethink this part of my life. It's a little complicated.
Yeah.
I think that's
We'll
what I
get
would
into
say.
it.
Yeah, we're about to get into
We're
that.
about to dive in.
Exactly.
That was a good like overview.
Okay, so Jay, how would you say that your relationship with money has formed? Where does it come from?
I think this is probably the case for a lot of people, but I think our relationship with money, at least my relationship with money, is very much inherited from my family and what I grew up with and seeing how like our family spent money and where we chose to splurge, where we chose to invest, and where, you know, other families did, but maybe we didn't. So my family definitely prioritized experiences, which is probably why I do too. Like, we would rather spend on like a really nice trip to make memories together versus I think in a lot of, especially Asian families, prioritizing investing in assets and like tangible goods, resale value. That's really much more important of a factor. Whereas our family jokes that like we just spend it all, it goes down the toilet because we eat it all and we play it all away. But I think that's like one of the areas that I inherited a lot from. But there's also just like, I think money being tied to like coveting that was really helpful, that was instilled in me from childhood. So there's a story when I was younger, probably in like maybe late elementary school, like 5th or 6th grade, when your brain is starting to form and you're starting to see and feel like social dynamics and money dynamics. So it was the era where like the sidekicks and like the flip phones and like the ones that I think it's called the LG chocolates that like flipped up and down.
The premium cell phones.
Yeah, the nice ones. And like I'm here with my like Nokia, you know, that
single screen,
I
single
jokingly,
panel.
Yeah, that I jokingly called my calculator because it just.
Aww.
And I would see these swipey ones that do like freaking gymnastics, and I wanted one, so I went home and I was like, "Mom, I want a new phone." And she specifically asked me, "Why do you want a new phone? Do you need it for
Smart
something else?"
lady.
I don't know, man.
At a young age,
And I
already
told her,
challenging your desires.
because everybody else has one, so I want one. And immediately she said to herself, it's not that we can't necessarily afford it right now. Like, of course, like if you needed it, we would give it to you. But she was like, I clearly made a decision in that moment. I'm not going to give it to you. And I'm going to make you wait. And so for the next like year or two, I still had my phone. Because then she asked me too, so smart. She goes, do you need it? What do you need the phone for? It's to call us or pick us up or contact with your friends. Can you do that on your phone now? Yes? Okay, well, we don't need the new phone, you know? And so thinking about like the functionality and why you're buying and it not being tied to like wanting what everybody else has, I feel grateful for, because I feel like it's so easy to get sucked into like seeing that everybody else has a new bag and stuff. So it's like partially about money management, but I think it's also about like desire. Like money is tied to desire, fulfilling desire, and how much freedom you give yourself to desire and to like satisfy the desire immediately or not. So
How did you feel in that moment? Do you remember when your mom was asking you?
I remember thinking, well, that does make sense. Like, because she's so smart. She like, you know, I mean, like functionally, you needed to call your mom to get picked up after school. But I remember seeing everybody else's phones and always feeling like, oh, I have my little calculator phone, you know, and wanting.
I want to be cool.
I want to be cool.
So that was the
I wanna
desire. What was
flip it
your
up and
what was your
down.
desire then?
My desire was to like be able to like walk around with the flippy thing too, and be able to like it's about like belonging, I think, and like have like being with other people that also have the same things as you, which is a very slippery slope.
Just wanted to fit in.
Just wanted to fit in.
Because if you were the only person on this earth, would there be a desire for a flip phone, or was the desire? For,
yeah,
like,
that's what she
belonging?
distilled. Like, if I had
Oh.
said, like, oh, I think the flip thing is really cool, potentially I would have been
It's
walking around with the
cool.
flippy thing, you know? But instead,
It's cool.
my specific reasoning that I guess I could articulate at the time was
Yeah.
because everybody else had one.
Yeah.
And that was not the right reason to spend.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think thinking about money and desire being so intertwined, and your like freedom that you feel like you have to fulfill the desires versus those limitations that you place because it's not the right reason is like an important thing to think about with money. It's like
Yeah.
not just about the money
Desire for
management.
belonging.
Yeah, it's not just tactical. It's
Yeah, in a
usually
community.
means something else of what you're spending on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
value
signals.
systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I think we all come from immigrant parents. And so we all have the immigrant mindset when it comes to dealing with money. But even within our three families, we've learned that we all deal with money and our parents deal with money in such drastically different ways.
Yes.
And it's still like within the
Immigrant
box of
experience.
immigrant mindset, you know?
Yes. There's so many subsets to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like a common
Yeah.
thread that we have all felt is the jealousy in childhood of like seeing other people have things and just being like, why can't I have that too? Like I just
Yeah.
want, you know, I just want a new box of crayons. I just want a Barbie or whatever it is. I'm curious, like what was something that you were jealous of growing up?
Oh my gosh, everything. Like similarly to Jay, I remember one of my friends pulled up. We grew up in a time where there were like no iPhones, but everyone had very different, like really cool cell phones.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend came up to me. She's like, "Look at this new phone my mom got me yesterday." And I was like, "Oh, what was yesterday?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Was it your birthday? What did you celebrate something? Like, why did she buy you this phone?" And she was like, "Oh, my mom just bought me this phone because like she thought I would like it. And I was like, what?
Wild.
What do you mean?
What
do
day
you
was
mean?
yesterday? It
She's
was
like-
Tuesday.
And I was like, do you know like how expensive cell phones
Yeah.
are just to like buy on a random Tuesday? And she's like, why are you so shocked? And I'm just like, oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
my
because,
gosh. You're
like-
we are not the same.
yeah. Because like, yeah, similarly to Jay
Yeah.
again, like whenever I express a desire for anything, my mom was like, okay, we will wait for your birthday or Christmas, which was all in the winter. So I only got stuff in the winter.
The most wonderful
yeah.
time.
And it's just like,
of the year.
I observed these moms that were not Asian just buying all of their daughters' things at the same time. Like it wasn't unusual for one girl to buy something and then for the next girl to be like, oh, I'll ask my mom to buy that for me so we can match.
Yeah.
And I remember back in middle school, like what was so popular was these like Victoria's Secret sweat sets. It was kind of like the Juicy
Oh,
Couture velour set, but
yes.
at the time it was Victoria's Secret pink. And it was like a matching hoodie and sweats. And like all the girls were wearing like different variations of them, like blue, green, pink. They look so cute. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want one now because everyone else has one. I want to fit in. So I remember going to the mall with my mom and I was like, can we please go into this bra store? She's like, you're 12. Why do you need a bra? I'm like, I just want to see like the sweat set. And I remember seeing like each piece being like $48 and just being like baffled that these moms would just purchase these things for their daughters. And it's not because my parents couldn't afford it. It's just they're just like, why do you need this?
It's not the
Yeah,
priority.
what's
Yeah.
the function?
Yeah, and then like of course they're just like, well, if you just do it to fit in, then we're not going to get it for you because like that's not a character trait we want you to have. Yeah. So
And $48 back then was
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I remember finally getting it at a consignment store. And after I bought it, my mom bought it for me. It was used, but she finally bought it. And I remember putting it on and being like, this doesn't like hit. I was like, even if I got this new, it just like doesn't hit. So I was grateful that she kind of like made me wait because I was like, it doesn't fit my body really well anyways. Yeah.
Which is a whole nother discussion.
I know.
honestly.
Another episode. Yeah. So a lot of it was just, I want to fit in. I really want people to think I'm cool. I want them to like me because, I want to belong and I want to wear this uniform of belonging, especially in formative years. Like when you're 12, all you want to do is fit in. Yeah. And be accepted.
Because so much of money is around like getting to share the joy of the thing together with other people. And I feel like for a lot of immigrant families, like being able to like indulge in that joy immediately is not, it's not a priority, or like it's actually seen or tied to these like value systems that we should not, because we need to like play the longer game or think more long term.
Survive.
Yeah, survival, and also like building up that like security or that like nest egg so that there is a sense of something to fall back to, which is something that is very different from maybe some of our peers that we were surrounded
It's very
by.
cultural.
Yeah, super cultural too. Yeah, built
Yeah.
into the culture, and then you add the immigrant experience too. Mads, I'm curious for you. There's things that as a kid you just get excited about and you see that you want to like experience the joy in too, but maybe what were some of those things that were harder to be able to experience at the moment?
Yeah,
when you wanted them?
I remember so distinctly, and I always give my parents crap for it now. So if they're listening, they're going to be like, oh my God, here she goes again. I remember so distinctly when I was in kindergarten, my mom took me, not grocery shopping, she took me school supply shopping, and we got like brand new like notebooks and folders and crayons and colored pencils and pencils. And it was so exciting because I was like, wow, I have all these toys to play with. And so I went to school and it was great. But then the next year came around and then I thought we would go school supply shopping and we
Again.
didn't.
No,
Yeah.
this is not an annual tradition.
Yeah, we just got like new paper, you know? And so then I went to school and then I saw all of my friends had like new colored pencils, new crayons, a new box to put all of those in, you know, like the new notebooks, new folders. And like I just had ones that I took really good care of, but they were still like a little
crusty,
bit,
dusty.
a little tattered and clearly not new. And then that successively just happened like year after year. And so by like second, third grade, my crayons were like broken in half and you know, there was no box for them anymore. And it was just really, oh my God.
Oh, I don't know.
It was really hard, I think, because those items, not necessarily to fit in, but because I thought like, oh, it's literally just harder to color with like stubby crayons, you know? And when you look at the bigger picture and even when you look at your perspectives too, like it's so much deeper than we think as kids. And so it's really interesting to like think about where desires come from and why, and how like how we are kind of fed, for lack of a better term, to want things that will make us spend our money. So for kids, it's like if a kid is asking their parents like, I want this, like how hard is it for the parent to say no, right? And like if all the kids want the cool item, cha-ching for the corporation, you know, which is like a whole thing. But like if it's not necessary, it's also important to think about. So like as we've gotten older, we've reflected on these things and we're just kind of like, wow, like I'm so glad our parents like taught us these things. But it was so hard at the time. And we really just
you
like
don't understand.
So resonating with that, and then also just like when you see people today, you can kind of like pick it out, even when they just kind of their eyes like stay open for a little bit longer, you know, when you're talking about like, oh, let's all just go get drinks for the night, and it's kind of like
there's a lot of implications of that. My bank account the next day is gonna be
there's like 5-year-old brain folds that are like ignited when people just suggest something as simple as like, oh, why don't we just like, oh, if you don't like your drink, why don't you just get a new one?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes.
I never even had a drink, so
yeah, she doesn't buy drinks when we go out.
No, I'm like, I will finish this even if it tastes terrible. Because in principle, I bought it and I guess I need to hydrate with this Beatrice, you know?
It's like no
you need
waste.
to finish anything.
Booyah long fei. Do not waste.
Yeah. So because our parents raised us this way, we developed skill sets that were creative and new. Would you like to speak to that?
My parents, we grew up kind of scraping, but I never felt very poor because they did invest in things like crafts. I love crafts. I don't like art. I like crafts. I like creating things and making 3D things. I have no sense of like
she does
or anything. No, I don't.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, you do.
And so anything that I wanted that I knew my parents wouldn't buy me, I'd be like, okay, I think I can make it. And I think, and I was satisfied enough to be like, if I make this thing of my own that's similar to my friends, then this will be enough for me. And I won't see it as something that's just like a copy of it. Like I did find value in the things that I made. Not that I could make a cell phone, but things like a training bra when I was like 4th and 5th grade. That's like what all the girls are starting to wear. Like, oh my gosh, puberty. Like, did you wear your deodorant today? Did you wear your bra? And like, of course, for me with the Asian body type, like I won't need a bra until maybe like 8th grade. But it's just like something, it's like even the shadow of it through your shirt, like a training bra, it's just like, oh, she's a woman, she's growing up. Like this is femininity. This is like, because as a little girl, all you want to be is like a beautiful woman, like a princess. And like, this is what princesses wear. So I remember like begging my mom, like, can I please have a training bra? And she was like, you don't need one. She's like, no, you don't need one. And I was like, oh, but what she did allow me to have was time with her mother, and her mother taught me how to crochet. My grandma gave me a whole bunch of yarn. She gave me crochet hooks. And so I remember we were taking a family trip to Disney World. On the plane ride to Disney World, I was 9 years old. I crocheted my own training bra.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember my parents were like, what are you making? I'm like, nothing. But at the end of it, I was so proud. I put it on. I was like, oh my gosh, it fits perfectly. Like I measured the strap length. Like everything was specific to my measurements because it was mine. And I was so proud of it. I was like, I have to show my parents. And I brought it out. I was like, look, I crocheted my own bra. And they were so delighted to see that. They're like, Emily, you did such a good job. I need to find a picture because my dad took a picture of me like holding it up. I was like, this is my bra. I never wore it though because it's made out of yarn. It's very itchy. There's holes. It's like it's itchy and it's hot. It wasn't even like that I was nipping or anything. It was hot and itchy. But like still I was very proud of myself. And I think after that, that's my mom was like, okay, you've earned it. So we went to Limited Too. She bought me one training bra. Yeah. So I think constraints are good. Because that's when your problem solving can emerge. And as difficult as it is to be like, oh, I can't have like a new pencil box every year. I think it helped us learn values early on. I still have this. It still functions. I can still use it. It just won't feel as great, but I can manage and I can learn how to adjust around these constraints. So I
Mhm.
think having obstacles really causes you to grow beyond your limits and get really creative. Yeah. Yeah.
It also, I love the story because it's also just like such a you trait to have too, which is like when there is a constraint, some other kids might have just been like, oh, okay, well then I can't have one, and like leaned back from that moment and just been like, well, let me sit and wait until my mom will get me one. But you were like,
I'm gonna get a bra.
way. Yeah, and that tenacity, that perseverance, that self-initiative, like that is so you too. So it's just cool to see it like emerging in these small ways as a
9-year-old,
kid
yeah.
too. Yeah, because other kids really might lean back and be like, okay, they said no. But you think beyond that and you're like, I will find a way, even if I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
Which
And that tenacity takes you so far.
It does,
too.
yeah.
Which she still exercises to this day. Like we all bought these T-shirts that we thought would fit, and they were so small. The shoulder seam was like at my neck.
Yeah.
But we loved them so much, and Em was determined to wear them. So she sewed it into a really cute tube top, and it looked so good. It looked like she purchased it online, but actually it was one of a kind because she deployed her skills.
Bespoke.
Yes.
Yeah. And we couldn't return them. So it's just like, if I'm going to spend this much money, like I'm going to use it somehow, some way.
Yet another constraint forcing
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And that's just how life is. There's always going to be something that gets in the way, and you have to be creative, and you have to like respect yourself enough to just go for it. So now that we've talked about our childhood and our relationship to our parents' money, I think we should talk about when we started making money, like after our first jobs, like once the money was deposited into our accounts, was there any freedoms that we felt? Were there any constraints that we put on ourselves? Like, how did your childhood relationship with your parents' money affect your relationship with your own money when you first started making it? Madeline, why don't you start us off?
I'm in the hot seat.
She's got a lot of juicy stories
your eyes
to tell
were
us.
shining.
I'm in the hot seat.
Yes.
I don't know where to begin. Wow. I feel like there's so many levels of the progression because there's the moment where you first start making money and you're not making a lot, so you're just like grinding.
Yeah.
And then there's like you make gradually more, but then maybe there's your peers who are making way more. And then you're like, wait, I got to get there. But then you're like, why do I got to get there if I don't care, you know? And then you actually do make more because you're like better at what you're doing, and you have more freedom. But then you like spend because you can, but then you're like, wait, is this morally wrong? Is a latte morally wrong? And then you have like even more money and you're like, well, this is cool, I guess, but what does this mean? What am I supposed to do with it? And then you're sitting over here like, do I put it in assets? Like, do I build wealth? Like, what is the W word?
So when you said like you first started making money, your first response was to keep grinding to make more.
Yeah. So when I first, like my first job, I did not make much at all.
What was your first job?
I was in Big Four. I was living in this old couple's home, renting a room out for like $500, and
Great deal.
And I was like, there's no other way I can survive without this. I mean, looking back, I'm like, I probably could have, spent a little bit more on rent, but I was under the impression like I just got to save wherever I can. I still got my car and like all these other payments to make. So eating out, like traveling and like spending money on
taking
things.
an Uber.
Oh my God, never. No,
This was early on in our friendship. I was like, huh?
I'm like, I'll crab walk my way there. It'll be a workout too, 2 in 1. You shared at the beginning of our conversation around like realizing that the way that you thought about your money, especially in adulthood, started to have like you saw the benefits of it, but then as that grew, it started to like collide with maybe other people or kind of started to have more negative effects. Or I'm curious if you want to share more about when you started to realize those things. So I think like in our 20s, especially as we start making money, you're just experimenting and trying like these different value systems and ways to make decisions and stuff, and realizing the costs, but also the benefits of all of those is a big part of like growing and figuring out your own self. So do you have
definitely.
of that?
I think that I realized like later in my life that the experimenting that happens with most people, right? Like whether I feel like usually in your early 20s, it's like personality and like, you know, hobbies and stuff. Like for me, I like realized later that, oh, people have been like playing with their money and like I haven't been.
Yeah.
And so like kind of realizing people have like a looser grip, even if they came from a similar background as me, like they think about money differently. But I saw my grip on money was like white knuckle and dying. Oh my God. And it was so tight. And then I would look at my friends who like maybe would be making the same, but they're like fine going out to eat all the time and like going out and traveling or just buying shit, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't I do that? Like it's not that. And then, you know, like I would have a celebration moment and I would be like, all right, I'm a ball out and like go get a Sprite at the McDonald's drive-thru. And I felt something. I was like, this is luxury. You know, or like one of my birthdays I went out and I bought like organic cilantro. It was like $1.21 and I was like, yeah. I've made it in life. But then
wow,
like,
she was splurging. You were splurging.
Yeah.
But it really
for you,
felt,
no, but for you,
it
that
felt like a
was.
splurge
It
for
did.
you. Yeah.
I like remember it clearly to this day.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
see your friends who like get like $121 meal for their birthday. And I'm like, that's great, you know, but like I could never.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely changed throughout the years. And I would say that being friends with you, Jay, has also given me a lot of different perspectives on like how I can view money because your family has highly stressed the importance of experiences, which is like the opposite of where I'm coming from. So I'm like, oh shit, those are really valuable too. Like let me try those.
I agonized over buying a Starbucks holiday drink for probably like an entire week. Every day I thought about it.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, it could be so cute. I'm gonna walk around in Seattle with my cute little like holiday drink, sipping it as the snow gently falls. Like it was just like this like thing that I was like, this could be so great. But then I was like, but that's like $7. I'm like, I don't need one. I could just put some cinnamon on my latte at home and it's the same thing.
It's not the
But
same.
it feels, it's not. Like just going into the store and looking at the gingerbread latte and all of the different options and then picking the one you want is the luxury too. Getting to pick what you want
Picking what you
versus
want.
having to make the thing you have at home. But it really feels like a moral decision. I'm like, why does it have to feel so dramatic? But I think it's like, when you have this like these set of principles in place,
Your
violating them,
your parents' principles?
not even. I feel like I just like set them for myself. What it feels like is when I indulge on this one small thing, I will indulge in many other areas, and then I'm gonna be irresponsible.
Yeah.
So it's about like it feeling like an irresponsible decision, when in reality it's a mindset shift from allowing permission and space to have little luxuries. But achieving that balance is really hard. And I find for myself, it's easier to reel it all the way back in. And even a little bit of loosening feels dangerous and unsafe.
You don't trust
and
yourself.
irresponsible. Yes, exactly.
You don't trust yourself on the other side of
I don't think
a
that answers the
splurge.
question of where the root is coming from.
No. But no,
I realized that didn't answer the question. Maybe because like, yeah.
But I'm just like, whose principle? Like, why did you set that? Because it sounds like there's a value in building something else. There's a value in kind of skirting the system and achieving the same goal, doing something a little different, maybe like waiting a bit for a sale. And like, where is that from?
I didn't get like my parents didn't buy me anything outside of necessities growing up. Like even I remember being like 6 and being at Walmart when we were grocery shopping, asking for a bag of Skittles that was 44 cents. And my parents were like, you can buy it with your own money, but like, you know, we can't afford that. Which was like, can't afford is not true because it was 44 cents.
Yeah.
Now I know. But basically like teaching you if you want something, like you have to
really
decide if you
wanted
want
something.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so growing up, like all the money that I had, like I would just watch everything so carefully. Like, do I really, really want that?
Yeah.
And so now you fast forward and like that's just so deeply instilled in you. A lot of things you're like, would I rather have the singe of the heart and lose the money, or would I rather just kind of like be fine without it?
Another follow-up question, like, are there ways in which you take care of that inner child right now?
Yes. Yes. So I think
Can you buy the little things?
yeah, and I think it's been kind of like this flailing. I feel like a teenager who like doesn't really know what to do with their money yet. Well, I think now I'm a little bit like more comfortable in how I feel, but for a few years when I was like making more money than the beginning, and I had enough to actually spend a little bit, discretionary money, right? Which like what a
discretionary
what a
income.
concept. Yeah. I found that like I almost would overspend. Like I didn't actually like go over budget or anything, but like I would just like buy things to buy them because I never had that feeling.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that you were talking about at the beginning of like the excitement and joy of spending money
Yes.
and being able to buy the things you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
you were
then,
starting to feel that.
but then a couple years later,
then-
I was like, I have so much shit. What am I gonna do with all this? And then the hoarder and like the immigrant in me is like, but that's all useful. Like you can't get rid of it. And so now I just have like all this stuff, right? And I'm like, I really gotta like
in
pare
a
down.
bin in your
Yeah.
closet.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and then like I'll find a use for it like 5 years later. So I'm like, thank God I kept
Thank
it.
God I had that.
Really,
Really
really.
though.
And then everything you look at, you're like, this might be useful 15
We will
years from
justify
now.
every single purchase. Yeah, because just I wanted it is never enough.
Or free things. I mean, Jay likes to keep boxes
Yes.
and bags.
Amazon boxes are really useful.
We literally were overseas in Korea and we were shopping on the streets and we get like free plastic bags to carry our goods in. And literally the first thing she will say is not joy from purchasing the item. It's, oh my God, this is a really good bag.
Oh my goodness.
And she literally has them to her apartment that she
save
has
them.
moved. She's moved apartments and she brought the bag.
You can't take China out of the girl. Again. Yeah.
Well, part of that was from an experience where I had to ship something to somebody, like a package or something, and I didn't have cardboard boxes, and I had to pay so much money at
get
FedEx
that.
for a cardboard box. And I was
get
like, in
that.
principle, never again.
You don't, yeah, it's like pens.
Yeah.
Like, why would I ever have to buy a pen?
No.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. But I'm curious for you, because your way of spending is so joyful.
Yeah, no,
it's
it really
so
is.
joyful.
Joyful and generous.
Yeah. And so, yeah, can you talk a little bit about like after you started making money?
Yeah.
What was that like? How did you think about all this money coming in now and what to do with it and where to give it to? Because you're so generous with it.
Yeah. So, like, for me, I kind of fall on the other side of that fear. And, like, I will spend and I will be irresponsible with my money. But it was just because, like, growing up, even though we didn't have a ton of money, my parents were just very generous people. And I think I learned that from them. And I saw the joy that came with being generous. My dad, whenever he had people over, he would just like give away stuff. You're like, oh, you like that? You can have it. And then he'd just be so happy afterwards to like not have his things anymore. And I think just naturally in my DNA, I'm a more generous person. My parents had this family friend, and every single time I saw him, he gave me a bag of Skittles.
Oh.
Yeah. And my parents would always tell me, like, you would always open that bag of Skittles and give every single Skittle away. Yeah. And he was like, you might have one for yourself, but like there was a lot of joy in just like giving it away. And I've always enjoyed giving things away to people.
It's true. Like when you get PR now, like if I'm there with you, you're literally just like, who can I give this to?
Yeah.
Like before even picking the shade for yourself, you're just like, I want to distribute to the village. But it's interesting because like your parents raised you and your sister the same way, but you both came out with like totally different
Yes,
mindsets.
it's so interesting. So my parents are first very generous, but also very careful and frugal with their money too. So I unfortunately only got the generous part. And so like I remember like not having, like as a kid you don't have money. You only get it from like Chinese New Year or like birthday or Christmas.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to the mall so I could spend all of this and I can buy my sister things. And it was always just like there was so much joy in purchasing. I don't know. There's like that dopamine hit, like I give you this and you give me that. And I don't know, it's so exciting. And I still to this day feel that way.
You literally made a video the other day of you and our friend Callie just play pretending shop. Like, ting, ting, ting. Here you go.
It's the joy of like receiving something.
By trading something in.
And
The kids are onto something.
I remember like my parents would be like, I'd ask them for like a snack and they're like, we can't afford that. I'm like, well then let's just go to the bank and get some money. Because like I just equated like you go to the bank and they give you money. I didn't know that it came out of like your personal account. I was just like, this is where you get money. So like, what's the problem? What's the issue here? So yeah, there's always been a joy of spending. And when I started making money, I was like, my first job, I got paid $45K. And I just remember thinking like, this is so many thousands of dollars. And like, I had zero concept of like savings, even though my parents were like, you need to put like 20% away into savings. Like, okay, but like what's left, I'm gonna spend it all. Yeah. So like I loved treating people out. I loved buying my sister things. I still love doing that. And then of course at the end of the month when I pay my credit card bill, I'm like, there goes all my money. I have a few $100s in my account, but that's okay because next week I get more money. And so it's always like this mindset of abundance. I don't have assets either. I don't have a robust savings account either. It's very scary. Like living my life is very scary because I don't really have much of a cushion or a margin, but I've gotten by. It's okay. And like you get to experience the joy of giving people things and like buying people things. And like if they say they can't, and then I'm just like, well, then I'll just buy it for you. Like what's the issue? Like money comes and goes, but like this is the time of our lives and we need to invest in it. The trouble comes when like, because my dad's also like this. He just like pays for conveniences. So stuff like, I remember visiting Madeline when we were first becoming friends, like back when we were 24. And she was like, oh, like, why don't we eat at home? And I was like, why don't we eat out? I'm on vacation here. Like, let's go eat out. And then she was like, okay, well, the bus leaves at like 3 p.m. And I was like, why don't we just take a Lyft? Because in my head, I was like, I'm on vacation. Buses are so gross. I hate just like sitting with people, and I hate just public transportation because it's just like hot and like, I like being picked up. So
I love the Muni.
And like she was so kind about it because she was like, okay, we can. But I really didn't understand like how much that probably affected you at the time, because like at that time you were still trying to like exploring outside of the framework in which you valued money.
It's really funny because it highlights exactly what we're trying to get at, which is that money, when it becomes relational, like kind of challenges all of the frameworks and boundaries and values that you have in place. So that's Emily's story for me, but I have a similar story for Emily.
Oh, tell us. There's clashing, and it's so interesting because you don't realize it growing up until you start having these conversations with your friends. Yeah.
So when Emily came to visit me, I had just moved to San Francisco, and she was
so bad.
And she was so excited. No, this is a my bad story.
Okay.
So she was so excited to come, and she was like, oh my God, there's this really cool science museum, and there's an albino alligator, and like it's so cool. I promise, like it's the best time ever. And so I'm like, I just see the dollar sign, you know. I'm like, I mean, it's like $50, and like we're gonna like spend max 2 hours there, and like in my mind, that's like you can't even eat out for that much money, like you know, like per hour.
Yeah,
you can do more than eat out per hour.
You think by per hour?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And so
you're like, but the albino.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I mean, if you want to do it, like, we can, but like, I'm not really that interested.
Yeah.
And then of course, Emily, in the name of friendship, was like, it's okay, like, we don't have to do it. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much, you know?
No, she spelled it out for me. She's like, I just don't see the value in this because it was less like if you want to, we can. It was more just like, I just don't see the value in it because it's $50 and it's just an alligator. And I was like, no, but there's an indoor rainforest too.
Yeah. Yes.
There's butterflies, and she's just like for $50, and I'm like, I don't see the point.
Like writing it out, like just very direct.
They're like a ledger, and like for her, she's like, I also don't see the point. So like we were missing each other.
Yeah. So we didn't end up going, and she was like, fine and gracious. We had a great time, anyways. We rode a tandem bike, and we like went to Muir Woods and everything.
It was so fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
But so then I ended up going to that science museum with other friends because they had a night at the museum for like $20.
Oh, for 20.
For like months. It was like
me so upset.
It was like months later, right? And so I went. And like experiencing that place, I was like, oh my God, I'm so wrong. Like the whole time I just had like a guilt cloud over me as I was experiencing this beautiful museum.
You saw the alligator,
the aquarium,
sending you photos of the alligator.
The planetarium.
The planetarium was
so much.
So cool. And then it was so bad that I bought a membership.
She bought a membership to the museum
because you can bring a friend for free every time you go.
The value.
And it's tax deductible. That's the thing, you know? So I bought that. And the irony is like I brought like every single friend that came to visit me except her.
So like, you have yet to see
so like to this day, my name has like an alligator emoji next to it.
Yeah, on my phone, it's Maddie with the alligator. because I will never let her forget that.
And like, you know what? I deserve it.
She was
So-
like, I'm so sorry. It was awesome. And I was like, I told you, but it's fine. It's fine. And we ended up going like many years later.
Yeah.
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 So it was overdue by many years, but like still we got to enjoy the experience and it didn't like hit our wallets as hard as it would have.
Yeah.
Because she had the membership.
Yeah.
And it was just a great learning experience for me.
For both of us.
For both of us.
It had to happen, unfortunately.
But it really opens your mind in terms of like, how can I view money differently?
And those things only happen when you like collide and bump up against each other.
It's
too.
true.
You know what I mean?
It's
Otherwise,
true.
if you're not in relationship with people like that, you're just barreling down the path of your own
Yeah.
principles and ideas and stuff. But it's like in the clashing
Yeah.
is when it kind of you can grow and like absorb parts of each other. Like seeing you talk about being able to like give and share and seeing the way it lights up and the way other people light up, I'm like, that is beautiful. That should be prioritized,
Yeah.
you know, and balance everything else. But like it's in relationship.
People do take
We're
advantage though.
alligators.
So like if you're gonna be generous, like tread lightly.
Be careful.
Yeah. Be careful.
That's such a good point because you have to be able to vocalize it in order for the conflict or the friction to even arise.
Healthy
Because
friction.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's been so many times where like I would want to go out and like participate in like a group friend activity, but I just didn't want to go out, have drinks and like get dinner. That's easily like over a bill. And at the time when I was deciding, I didn't want to spend that. It doesn't mean that I don't like the people. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to enjoy it, but like that's just too much money for me to like buy in. And I think the aspect of social life that a lot of people don't talk about is that it's really expensive. And so like
Expensive.
but if you don't vocalize why you're saying no, you know, people will assume that like you're
You
not
hate
interested.
them.
Exactly.
And you don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like it's like vocalizing your need and also like allowing the other people to have the opportunity to be like, well, let's be
Or do
considerate of
something
you.
else.
Because you would be
Yeah.
surprised. Like once you say that, they're just like, oh, well, like we don't have to. We can make drinks at home, you know?
Yeah.
When I quit my job last year, and I started doing social media full time, I took a huge pay cut, and it was just really cool to see how generous people could be once you state your limitations,
Yeah.
and then you get to see like the extent of people's love towards you, where otherwise you wouldn't have been able to see it because like if you have enough, then people can't really be generous towards you back. So yeah, you're right. Like in order to allow people to spend their money on you, I think it's important to like humbly be like, yeah, guys, I don't feel comfortable in like purchasing
Yeah.
this thing.
Normalize like saying no because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to see people like, oh, but I still want to do this with you. I got dinner.
Yeah.
And it's so great.
Or like,
Yeah.
okay, we don't have to go out. We can cook. You know, we can cook at
Yeah.
my place.
Yeah.
And
Generous.
it's just as fun.
yeah.
generous in like giving the resource, but also generous in thought and consideration too. Like
Yeah.
even if someone's like, oh, we can do something else, or before you even have to voice it, knowing it in your state and then being able to be like, let's do a craft night at home, you know?
Yeah.
Just their consideration of you and anticipating your need is
Yeah.
the love that they get to give you.
Yeah, it confirms the fact that they want to hang out with
care
you,
about you.
like regardless of if you can afford it or not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The real ones will always understand.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And go the extra.
I'll get your $7 Starbucks drink.
Yeah.
Ain't no thing. Money comes back.
Sometimes.
It will. It will. It's just how life works.
It's cool seeing all of our different stories because at the heart of every story, we're talking about money, but there's like money is in the direction of a desire. So if money is tied to desire and desires are emotional, then a lot of times money is emotional and there's all these like feelings attached to it. It's never about just the like dollars and bills being spent or left or coming in, but when it, especially relationally, honoring other people's desires for how they want to spend their money, and also voicing yours helps you just like know how each other is wired and then how to like love each other more fully, which is like really neat to see. The way that it feels like there's all these other ways that we often talk about in relationships of like their emotional needs and blah, blah, blah. But even their like financial makeup and their wirings is a dimension of a person to get to know. So like seeing you two in that story with the alligator and like figuring out how to like love each other and see each other, but then honor the other person's needs. Like you both were doing that together.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty, right? Like that's
Yeah.
relationship. It's like
Yes.
here are my needs, but here are your needs. And then how do we like fulfill those in each other so fully? Yeah.
Money is emotional. Money is relational. Money is spiritual.
Money
It's,
is a
so
dimension
tied.
of a person that's part of their being.
Yeah.
That we should
Solid.
recognize
Yeah.
wholly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we challenge you to have these conversations with your friends because it is a really cool tool to see like how can we deepen our friendship in this way.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable,
Yes.
but like
You
she
might
said,
fight a little bit.
You might
Yeah.
fight a little bit, but the real ones, they'll stay and
Figure it out.
it's a really cool conversation to have.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Money Talks.
We release episodes every week, and so we hope to see you at our next one.
Yay!
Cut.